Hey, what's up, Scorpio? Welcome back to another timeless tarot reading. Without any further ado, allow me to find the core energy for your read today. Alright, well, that came out pretty good. Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles, that's going to be good energy about observing hard work well done. And it can be about taking a break, so to speak. It can be about some recuperation. It's not about necessarily working to the same diligence as the Eight of Pentacles. So it is a little bit about reveling in your success, but it's in this dignified energy. It's not in an unresponsible manner. It's actually a good sign of just responsible recuperation, which is very good for getting your pentacles in order. So let's see what kind of... There's a couple earth signs that probably would have loved to have this as a core energy, and here you are as a water sign and you have it as core energy. But that's actually good for you because you can embolden this power to an extensive degree if you can nurture it with your water nature. So it's very interesting and not a bad core energy. So let's see what kind of clarifiers I can get for you here. First clarifier is judgment. So one way that you get to the Seven of Pentacles energy is your judgment is on point. You are being reinforced here that you have a grasp on your own judgment, which is very good, and that's how you achieve these seven pentacles in this depiction. So a very interesting match. You also have to, a lot of times where that's coming from is it's coming from higher source. It's coming from, you know, spirit, so to speak, the universe, however you deem it. And that judgment, the judgment is you choosing to listen to their wisdom properly. It's you emboldening yourself with spiritual wisdom naturally. And so judgment is, it's got a dual connotation of being your power, but also the power of higher source. So very interesting. And that's how you achieve this manifestation, because pentacles are the completion of primal force through the journey into completed manifestation. From primal force to completed material manifestation. So the judgment has to, you know, there's a journey to be had to achieve this kind of thing. Dang it, I'm not getting any other clarifiers for that at all. Death card on the bottom of the deck. Strong match with the judgment card. But let me just shuffle here. See if I can get something to come out here. So any other clarifiers, please, for Seven of Pentacles? Okay, so ask and you shall receive most of the time. Seven of Swords, though. So 7-7. There's some kind of way that you have figured out how to achieve this material success that is unconventional. So, and once again, it's kind of coming down to your judgment. You're listening to wisdom, and wisdom is allowing you to cut corners in ways that are valid because they're just better ways to do things. It's brain over brawn sort of thing. So there's some kind of smart way that you are achieving these Seven of Pentacles, and it's all dignified energy here. Nothing's really undignified. The Seven of Swords is typically an undignified energy, but matched with these energies, I'm seeing it more as the indirection of the Seven of Swords, not the incriminating nature it sometimes can connotate. So let's see here. If you had Seven of Pentacles in reverse, it would be a lot easier to say that, but you don't. You have Seven of Pentacles in the upright, so I'm matching all this dignified energy to that degree. So let's see what else we can get here. Okay, Goddess, can I please get another clarifier? Can I please get the final clarifier for Scorpio's Seven of Pentacles, please? Final clarifier for Scorpio's Seven of Pentacles. Alright, so final card. Four of Cups. So kind of a sign that you're gonna get, like, you're almost so good at this that it's getting old, kind of thing. And that can be a very easy excuse to start being lazier So unfortunately, though, you're only at 7 of Pentacles. You're not at 10 of Pentacles, and you're not. It's not showing that you're the King of Pentacles or anything. So like you've got a lot more ahead of you for you to be getting too complacent, to be losing your energy like that. Sometimes though, those feelings are coming because it's sort of how you do the indirect thing. Because when your feelings are trying to tell you something, a lot of times that's because there's a better way to do things. And that might be a good capacity for you here. The reason that you are able to do these smarter feats is because you're actually using your energy. You're leading with your emotions whenever they are not settled. And that is how you're finding these indirect advantages to do this stuff. And that is a form of judgment because it's soul powered. It's spiritually powered. It's not just logically powered. It's not just mentally powered. It is guidance through the combination of those mentalisms to stabilize the form that the material needs to be in, but you also have it also has the mix of using the emotional capacity to apply its own blend to the situation, which is harder to like say the words for exactly how that's true, but that's because that the emotional realm is not on the logical realm. So its effect doesn't exist necessarily within the stabilization of words, but it's true nonetheless. And as a water sign, you're very fond of leading with your emotions. Or that's a natural state you're in. Maybe you're not fond of it, but that's also could be why you're bobbled up a little bit. The idea, though, would be that you... Okay, so here's 2. King of Pentacles and the Death card. So I just mentioned King of Pentacles, and there comes out the King of Pentacles. And then the Death card afterwards. So that's actually a sign of the evolution I was just discussing. That's the potential of actually being able to combine this emotional mental capacity to this material effect. And Judgment's even with you on this one. Moving into King of Pentacles energy, it is very likely for somebody to reach those heights and reach that influential level, that status, through these powers. It's only natural. That these powers are what people are kind of looking for. And the natural result is that you are who gets turned to because you have the power. And followed up by the Death card, very strange because that's usually about further growth. And once again, seeing this 4 of Cups, sometimes that's a complacency card. I'm not seeing a lot of complacency here in your energy. And if you were to get some complacency, the Death card would be a way to grow out of that anyway. But it's more like you know how to turn that negative emotion into a benefit. And the Death card is a piece of that because the Death card can help you shed some of that weakness. It can help you tune to which of your emotions are not actually proper to follow and when they're not serving you properly. So that's kind of an interesting card there. But let's see what we can get further here. So, okay, so 4 cards came out. So I'm going to take them since they fit perfectly within the next 2 rows. 10 of Swords. Follows the Death card very well. So, sometimes the universe has to handicap you once you become too strong. Sort of thing. Is kind of what I'm seeing here. Because you can't go on forever. So there's a weird, it's like a strange just warning of your inevitability. And also kind of a warning about... It is also a pair of growth, though, because the Death card is about shedding that weakness, and the Ten of Swords is about a loss. So it's almost as if the only thing that you need to do now is suffer a legitimate defeat. And not because you want to be a loser, not because you want to not do a good job, but because the universe is suggesting that going through a defeat would be something new for you. And that is more important than another victory. Very interesting. And to a certain extent, what we've got following that up would be 4 of Wands reverse, which is the destabilization of... it can be a physical home destabilization, but if we're looking at the energy, it simply represents a destabilization. Something that you thought was always on a sure footing, not coming through for you in the same way, or losing some of its structure. A little bit more chaos than this card is meant to kind of cinch up. Following that, Knight of Swords. A little bit of a reckless energy, but in the upright it's rather dignified. It's hasty more than anything. Hasty but well thought out. It's not just the Knight of Wands that is just purely haste for the sake of haste and taking action itself. The Knight of Swords is trying to accomplish something specific. They're trying to accomplish some kind of change in form, some kind of stabilization through their haste. And in the upright, you're lucky because you're not just being reckless, and that matches this energy very well. So it's kind of like speaking back to your indirectness. You strike quickly when your opportunity emerges for this indirection. And that's another way that you stabilize and you take up opportunities to actually gather these material abundances. And the spirit loves when this happens for somebody, because that's part of what it means to grow properly. That's part of what it means to listen to spirit's wisdom. And when you do that, people in our society gain status because they've achieved this spiritual empowerment. Which, when I say spirit, that doesn't mean that you just don't think ever. Thinking is tied in with that. Thinking is like a transfer of primal force, giving you a feeling of creation, and then you stabilize it with your mentalism to be achieved in the material. It's a transition of spirit's power through you unto your will, to be delivered in order to deliver you material results that your will imparted, your mental will imparted these, and to a certain extent your own emotional will also imparted them. So very interesting energy, but now I'm forgetting which way this card came out. I think it came out reversed. Crap, I'm not remembering. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt with the Hanged Man in the upright. It sort of speaks what I was suggesting. The Knight of Swords needs to be doing the right thing moving forward, and the Hanged Man is about making a plan for moving for the future that is going to work, because you're listening to your experience about what it means to jump into these things, and the more you've done it, the more experience you have, so once again you're channeling this wisdom properly. It's exactly what the Knight of Swords wants to reside on for achieving their goal in their haste. But when you've taken the Hanged Man energy properly, that means that your plan is based off of better experience and it's more likely to succeed. Which means that the Knight of Swords isn't only just going to be hasty, but they're going to be successful. And if it's in these indirect ways, they can be even that much more successful. So very interesting how everything is coming together here very successfully for you, but except for this Four of Wands, which is a destabilization. And maybe this is sort of a sign that you are destabilizing other people's structures, because your indirectness is challenging consensus. So very interesting enough, it's not even really pointing at you. It's like there may be that could ruffle some feathers the wrong way, to where you feel maybe a little socially jarring from others because you keep like pushing the boundaries. So maybe that could be a piece of what that is. But this destabilization, you have a lot of other stabilization to stand on in this reading, and the way you restabilize is usually through this growth from the Death card anyway. So like all of your capacities here are pointing towards you being able to restabilize, but if other people are rubbed wrong by this, like judgment's on your side and stuff in this. Spirit is turned, you've got this, like the gears of spirit waxed pretty good here, they're greased pretty good. And it's going to be these other people's problem if they choose to stay in that destabilizing vibration, unfortunately. So let's see what we can get to finalize this. Ah, look at that though. 7 of Pentacles in reverse. So that counterbalances your energy. That goes to the warning I was saying earlier, that in this energy, if you are using it constructively, like I was suggesting, to guide your indirect action, that gives you the ability to achieve these things pretty good. But what I was seeing was that there is also a warning here that if you take that down the more toxic route, it can make you you're a little less conscientious of the result of your work. And that's exactly what we're seeing from Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is not being satisfied with the results of the work. And sometimes that's because they're shoddy. Oh, we also noticed this, we have 777 on the cross. So you almost had 777 all upright, which would have been very fortunate. But you only have it in 2/3 now. Two-thirds of it is in the upright, and then you have Seven of Pentacles double, so I would say that based on the other energy here, like, well, following that up, we also have the Ten of Wands reversed. You see the timer here, we're at 15 minutes, that's not too bad. Just gonna wrap up pretty quickly. Seven of Pentacles, like, I would say in this instance, it's, for some reason, you're not getting the same excitement out of achieving these material things, and maybe that's a cycle you go through. Maybe when you lose, it hurts a little bit more. What's really striking me here is that whenever your heart isn't in at 110%, your craftiness takes a hit, and you deliver a shot of your craftsmanship if you are trying to work through the bland emotionality. But what's going on here is that what I was seeing is that when you are channeling that properly, when you listen to it properly, you know how to take the right actions to get back to this proper manifestation. So it's something that it seems like you know how to do. The other thing I'm seeing here is with Ten of Wands in reversed, when you're in that toxicity, that makes you like, it's very drudgery energy. You're very willing to like notice the bad in things as opposed to the good. And the bad that you're focusing on in this instance is that you've achieved so much that there's a lot of overhead for that success. And that having that thought alone can stagnate your creativity, because that means you're hooked into that more negative energy. And that has the potential to work down your process too, because you aren't retaining the proper energy to actually achieve those abundancies. It's kind of cliche law of attraction, to be honest with you. Okay, so the last card, the Moon. So some kind of illusion here is at your process here, and I think it's kind of what I was discussing. The illusion is that you're overemphasizing how you feel when it's bad, as opposed to allowing that bad feeling to be reconstructed into a positive feeling that yields better mental result. And that's something you know how to do, but maybe every once in a while it just starts to get boring or repetitive what you're doing, and that leads you to a little bit more lackadaisical mentalism. More you don't apply your better self as much when that starts to occur. And that can break down your outlook to the point where it sort of lowers the quality of your creativity. And it can also weigh on you if you... Another sign that I'm getting here is part of another reason why that's getting triggered a little bit is because you were hoping that all of this work would lead to less work, but sometimes it feels like it leads to more work. And if you let that be a wrench in your like mentalism in this spiritual system you have, the law of attraction like lodges on that. So you got to be really careful about how you feel. And the Moon is kind of asking you, the Moon is warning in this instance that illusion is in place. That it is not true that you should be following those feelings. You need to get back into these more optimistic feelings. That's more or less what it's suggesting. So, alright, Scorpio, that's what I've got for you. Interesting reading. Very powerful manifestational potential here, and in its own unique fashion. If you can use your emotions properly, if you can remember to transmute into good feelings, you will be served better by that than squandering yourself in sort of more bickery, petty, pouty feelings and taking the mentalisms that come from that. So, very interesting reading. I think that's going to be it for this. So, thank you very much for being here. Take care and good luck.